right, are you guys ready?
Yeah, just remember the teaser, the JT teaser.
Yes. Welcome back to Play Tessie. It is episode 33, the Jason Veritek and didn't put this in the show sheet, Jose Canseco episode. We've got an awesome interview with Chris Murphy coming up on the official podcast of the PGA Tour. But before we get there, remember, rate us 5 stars, subscribe wherever you're listening, Odyssey app, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Just search WEI Play Tessie. We'll be there. Subscribe wherever you're at, rate us 5 stars, all that. We love you. You love us. But yeah, we want to just kick you right into this. But after we do the interview with Chris Murphy, we are going to get into all things Justin Turner. Justin Turner officially signing with the Blue Jays today, reported and officially announced on their Twitter account, which by all accounts stinks. But what doesn't stink, we've got an awesome interview for you guys here coming up with
Chris Murphy.
We are joined by a very special guest, someone that if you listen to the show, you know he was destined to make his Play Tessie debut sooner rather than later. It's Red Sox lefty Chris Murphy. How's your offseason going, man? Are you itching to get back on the field?
I'm itching pretty bad to get back on the field. It was nice to meet you guys at Winter Weekend. It was a blast. I'm glad you guys are having me on here.
Happy to have you on, dude. We are so excited. This is our white whale. Like this is a big moment. Play Tessie history right here.
Chris, what do you think of Red Sox fans like before you kind of got to mingle? Like, what was your perception of what the fan base would be like?
There's the good and the bad of every fan base. We kind of touched on it. I grew up a Yankee fan, so I'd kind of seen bad Yankee fans and good Yankee fans as well. And then my dad was kind of that way about the rivalry a little bit in terms of he really disliked the Red Sox, but I never saw it that way. I think that's just the baseball player in me that saw it as those are baseball players, and watching Big Papi hit that home run, we all know which one I'm talking about. Like those moments are baseball moments, right? And I kind of fell into it pretty quick that some of the best fans in the game are in Boston. So it's pretty cool being a part of a historic franchise like that.
God, so you grew up a Yankee fan. Yeah. That's interesting. So you get drafted by the Red Sox in the 6th round. Tell me how that went. Like, what was that like with your family?
That was the last team on my board that I thought would ever pick me, honestly. I'd fallen a little bit more than I thought I would go. Looking back, it doesn't really matter where you get picked. But thinking back to that day, I was like rattling off texts to scouts like, hey, I'm ready to play pro ball. It's not down my mind. I don't want to go back to college. I texted a bunch of teams. The Red Sox are not one of them. I talked to JJ Altobelli once, I believe. Yeah. They kept it very low key. They keep a lot of things close to their chest, even when it comes to drafting players. So when I got that call, like, hey, they're going to take you with their next pick, I was like, okay, cool. And I went inside and I told everyone I'm getting picked in the 6th round, but I'm not saying who it is. You guys are going to be kind of surprised. And my dad just started guessing, and the Red Sox were his last guess. He pulled up the sheet. He's like, there's no way. There's no way. And I was like, yeah, it was the last pick of the 6th round because they had won in 2018. So I think it was pick 197, right around Tom Brady. Right around Tom Brady. Shout out Ed Hand for that one. So,
so you let your family hear it on the TV organically?
Yeah. We let them hear it, or I let them hear it organically. But my dad knew, and he blurted it out loud. Everyone figured out that it was going to be the Red Sox when it was the last pick of the 6th round. They're like, oh, he's not going in the 7th round, so it's this pick. Yeah.
So is your dad just like playing both sides of the fence? Like he likes Red Sox like the Yankees now, or is he now is he switching over?
I think he's more of a Red Sox fan. He's a fan of whatever team I'm playing for. So yeah.
So kind of going back to the draft, obviously the MLB draft is so insanely different than NFL, NBA, NHL. It's a lot longer, and the picks literally kind of come out of nowhere.
Yep.
What's that process like? Like, do you know that there's scouts looking at you and then you kind of reach out, or do teams contact you?
So, I mean, there's a couple different sides of the coin. I went through it in high school where all of these scouts come to your house and they do sit down meetings, talk to you and your parents, just like thoughts on Pro Bowl, like fill out all these questionnaires, right? And every questionnaire is the same for every team, or maybe a couple different questions depending on the team that's interviewing you, pretty much. And didn't get drafted out of high school, move on from that. Once I got to college, it was meeting these area scouts at the Starbucks down the street. And I would line up 5 or 6 of them in a row on a Saturday morning. We'd practice Saturday nights. Okay, so Saturday morning, have 5 or 6 of these meetings in a row. Just kind of line them up like clockwork and answering a lot of the same questions over and over, like throwing programs, what's your idea, what do you see yourself as in the future, yada, 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 stuff like that. And when it comes time to draft day, unless you're a first or second rounder, you really have no clue at all. You're just kind of thrown in there. Because you're covering so many more players than you are in the NFL. You're looking at the combine for the NFL. Those are the guys that are getting drafted high. And then you have in baseball, you got JUCO guys, you got high school guys, you got D3, D2, and then D1 guys, right? You have a giant draft class, and you never know who's going to get picked, who's not. So it is a whirlwind. You just kind of wherever the mic falls, like that's where you're at, right? And that's sometimes teams contact you. Most of the times the team contacts you in regards to that. I was getting desperate. I was like, whoa, what's going on? But I think that was probably a one-off scenario.
So we've discussed the whole draft situation, everything. Take us through the major league call-up. And if I remember correctly, was it on your birthday or around?
On my birthday. It was on my birthday.
Yeah.
That was I thought Chad Tracy, our AAA manager, I thought he was just calling to give, like, say happy birthday, whatnot. He's like, I got a really good birthday present for you. It was on speaker on my way home from dinner. I was like, yeah. He's like, you're pitching in the big leagues at some point this week. I don't know when, but it's gonna happen. I was like, oh my God, okay. I started freaking out. Reliving that situation was crazy. It's kind of like a blur of 12 hours, because I got that call around like 6:37. My flight was at 6 a.m. the next morning. Had to make a bunch of calls. Had to pack. Had to. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I also had Caleb Hamilton and his wife, and then Brandon Walter and his now fiance were at the apartment when I got back, and I was like, well, we can't go do the escape room. Like, why? I was like, okay, well, I'm going to the big leagues. And Brandon Walter thought I was messing around. He's like, shut up. I was like, no, dude, like, I'm serious. He goes, shut up. I was like, no, I'm really serious about this. He's like, no way. I was like, yep. So had to pour myself a drink for that one. I don't drink very often. I had to calm down a little bit. And then next morning we're out there. I think I had 3 Red Bulls. Not much sleep at all that night. Thankfully did not pitch on the 6th. Instead, got a full night's sleep in Cleveland and pitched on the 7th.
Oh, man. Okay, I want to go back a little bit, because I think one of the things that we play Tessie, pride ourselves on is we humanize you larger-than-life athletes that people watch on the field. They don't always get a chance to talk face-to-face.
Yep.
You said that when you were called up, you were freaking out a little bit. What's the Chris Murphy version of, like, freaking out at a big life moment like that?
It was more just speechless, kind of like right now talking about it. It's hard to really recollect that moment. There wasn't much of a freak out, I'd say. I wasn't like panicking or crying per se. There was definitely like a holy shit, this is happening. But nothing of the sorts of like jumping up and down like I just won 80 grand kind of thing. It was more of my dreams are kind of coming true. It's a full circle moment. It's what I've been working for my whole life. And when you get to that point, it's kind of like a more calm. I felt pretty calm more than anything. I did need a drink to just like let that actually sit in. Like, this is happening. Pinch myself a couple times. And after that, I kind of just said, "Oh, I had a good talk the next morning. I'm on the plane. It's actually my roommate in the next room over right now. Rio Gomez. We were supposed to get coffee on that Tuesday morning, and I didn't have time to text him like, "Hey, I can't go get coffee tomorrow." He calls me. He's like, "Are you on a plane?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh my God." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Hey man, just remember, even if you shit the bed, you're still a big leaguer." And I was like, yeah, and that's something that's like actually stuck to me. He's like, it doesn't matter. No matter what happens on that mound, you're a big leaguer at the end of the day. And I was like, I told him that today, actually. And I was like, that has stuck with me for a long time. And that's probably going to stick with me forever, was that conversation of no matter what. And you just kind of just let it go. Right. But yeah, just kind of that sense of belonging is, I think, what leads to success up there. But going back to that question, I'm not the freak out guy. I'm the sit down and I'm like, yeah. People around me. My girlfriend was freaking out way more than I was. She was crying, eyes bawling, like, "Oh my God, it's happening! It's all happening." My parents, both of them, were freaking out. I was just like, yeah, I get to pitch in the big leagues in the next couple of days, and just more excited than anything.
It's funny you mentioned that text, because like you did the exact opposite of shit the bed. Like you go to Cleveland and come out of the bullpen and it's 3 1/3 scoreless with 5 Ks. Like, what goes through your mind? Like, you're in the middle of that outing, like you're going back to the dugout. It's like, okay, keep going. You got another. Like, what the hell goes through your mind? Your dreams are coming true. You're pitching on a big league mound against the Cleveland Guardians, and you're mowing them down. What even goes through your mind during that?
Absolutely nothing. There was nothing going on. It was lights on, no one's home. I was just kind of throwing. And I had Kike tell me when I got to the mound, he's like, "Hey, take it all in. You're a big leaguer." And I was like, okay. But there was a runner on second and 2 outs. I'm like, he's not going to score. Kind of like the first thing that kind of went in my mind. I took like 2 seconds, 3 seconds to kind of take it in. I got rushed to get hot, which is, I think, the best case scenario. I didn't freak out. I had a batter and a half to get loose, and I was in the game. So I was just throwing as hard as I can, just get my arm going, and kind of throw and pray when I got out there. It's like, I'm trusting it's all going to be there. After the game is when I really took it in. I pitched that last inning, sat on the bench, and just kind of looked around for a solid 2 or 3 minutes of that just happened. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot I really remember about that outing, to be honest with you. I almost got my head taken off by the second pitch I threw. The first pitch was a foul ball. Second pitch was a line out to Kike. That's, other than that, not a lot.
So that was your debut in Cleveland. Your home debut at Fenway was against the New York Yankees.
Yes, it was.
How fucking surreal was that?
That was a cool one, especially the doubleheader on that Sunday. And right in the middle of being in that race, that AL East race is always fun, or at least in my experience of it, it is fun. So I wish I could tell you about that one too. I don't really remember a lot of these outings. That one was I think I got called up like a few days before I hit my 2 weeks to come back anyways. So it was just more of a surprise. We're in Norfolk. They're like, "Hey, you're going back to the big leagues." I'm like, "Okay." And they're like, they told me on Saturday, "You're not going to be throwing on Saturday. We're probably going to have a doubleheader Sunday. You're going to most likely throw game 1." Okay, cool. And it's like, "Do what you did last time." It's like, okay. I think it's kind of like an ignorance is bliss kind of thing. When I didn't overthink it was when I probably pitched the best, and that's probably a good outlook into next season.
So, Chris, herein lies the difference between you and the 4 of us, Coop backstage. I think I can comfortably speak for all of us. If any of us had the chance to throw one singular pitch in the majors, let alone Fenway Park, I think we'd all be, I mean, for me personally, I'd be shaking, sweating. I get nervous when I'm like playing a video game and I have to fight a boss. Is this something that you've like taught yourself to do to stay calm, or is that just all natural?
I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'm a very nerve-wracking person, but I've never had that feeling with baseball. I do remember this. My dad, you remember you can like TiVo things, like you can record TV shows. And my dad recorded this 160-minute episode with this free climber, the guy that free solos these mountains, and it's nuts to watch. It's absolutely insane. And he had this one line in there where he said, "It's the moment where I get nervous that I know that I've absolutely like something has gone totally wrong." And you stop trusting what you've done. Like if you trust that you've prepared for that moment and that's where you belong, the nervousness should subside and it should feel more like excitement. I would say I was extremely excited to pitch on that mound, on any mound I go on to pitch in the big leagues. It's more of a differentiating that from having the shakes, being nervous, the adrenaline's running, I got to chill out. It's more of a hone into that and kind of lean into that and call it excitement, I guess, right? It's like your outlook on that. Like I think Bryson Stott's home run in the playoffs is probably one of those ice cold moments. In that sense, like 50,000 people are in Philly, the place is bumping, and he's probably in that moment not nervous at all. Like I'm swinging a first pitch heater and it's gone. I couldn't tell you what he was actually thinking, but I would imagine most of us are along those lines of being excited instead of nervous. And I think that might be the mindset change that we've been trained for a long time.
All right, I'll flip it on you. What does make you nervous?
Speaking in front of a large group of people. I'll pitch in front of 35,000 all day. You tell me to speak and I'm not allowed to have my artistic say on how I speak, use my own language or have to rehearse something, I can't do it. It's worse than anything in the world. So I'd say it's either that, not doing karaoke ever.
Karaoke
by myself.
Karaoke's my shit.
I can't do it. That's the stage fright in me is right there. That's my nervousness. I would say probably.
Pat, you're a big karaoke guy?
Oh,
Is what?
My go-to karaoke. Granted, I am quite inebriated when it gets to that point, but lately it's been "Accidentally in Love" from the Shrek 2 soundtrack. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Pat, can we go to one of those karaoke bars and just sing Nickelback all night?
Yeah, no free advertising. Butterfly. It's a restaurant up the street. It's half Chinese restaurant, half karaoke. I'm there probably 4 to 5 times a year.
How did you know it was from? I think the funniest thing of this entire spiel is the fact that you knew it was not from Shrek, but Shrek 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
you see the movie enough, you know exactly where it's from.
All right. So we won't catch Chris Murphy doing karaoke. Maybe Pat, if anyone wants.
I'll still do it. The nervousness is just going to be there.
Yeah, we'll do it. It's all right.
We'll find. We got to get Zach Kelly in here, and we'll do
That's what the liquid courage is for, right? I gotta have a few in order to do it.
What's the ad where the guy they're like singing karaoke and he like goes down on one knee like he's gonna propose, but he's actually tying his shoe. They're singing a duet song there.
Oh
What?
wow! Hold on.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know what song that is.
It's on during like literally every single football game. Like I see
It might
10
be
times a
Sweet
Sunday.
Caroline, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah. You guys can duet Sweet Caroline. That'll be the move.
Is it the big game? Sing it your no. This is the Whopper. Yeah, no, never mind. I'll find this.
What the hell?
Okay, yes, they can duet that. That's the official decision. The Whopper song.
All right. So kind of pivoting. So we kind of talked about last year, rookie year, debut and everything. This year, obviously, some changes. Breslow in. The big one is Andrew Bailey in. What's that line of communication been like? Have you talked about like a role yet? What you ramping up? What's the plan?
Haven't really discussed it. I think just resuming from what I was doing last year in terms of build up as an innings guy, and whatever they need me to do, I'm going to do. So if that's go 1 inning, if that's go 8 innings, I'll do whatever that is in between. it's throw to two batters, throw to two batters. So I think the role is just kind of up in the air. I think there's a lot of uncertainty with what I think it kind of depends on how I show up to spring, which I'm very hopeful for. However, Andrew Bailey's awesome. I haven't worked with him personally in a bullpen yet, but I watched him work with some guys and super insightful. Gives immediate feedback to these guys, and he seems like the man. So I'm excited to work with him in spring. And we've talked just in terms of like what pitches I'm going to be throwing, like to righties, to lefties, what we're going to be doing in terms of attacking guys this next year. But in a bullpen, haven't gotten the chance to work with him yet, but super excited to do that.
Kind of riding off that, are you a driveline guy?
I did it last off season. It worked out pretty well. I guess I've always been a weighted ball guy, if that's what you mean by it. I've been a weighted ball guy since I was about 10.
Yeah.
Before driveline was around. But yeah.
Yeah. Now with Kyle Body in the fold, do you think that ramps up a little bit, or do you think we'll kind of see how it plays out?
I totally forgot about that. But yeah, I haven't spoken to him. I'm not sure if it's on the major league side or if it's like player development.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued. He brings definitely a lot of data and analytics to maybe things that most orgs don't look at, because him and Brian Bannister have turned organizations around in terms of pitching. Analytically, not necessarily anything like how to teach guys how to pitch, but just what to throw, how to throw it kind of thing, I think is very important to a pitcher, especially at a younger age. If you get guys in the DSL or GCL that are kind of searching for something and they're absolutely electric, you can make those strides pretty quickly with those guys.
What's it like when you left to excuse me, sorry, Gordo. When you go to driveline, I feel like it's become sort of like a Valhalla of baseball. When you walk into like their facility and everything, is it intimidating, exciting? What's it like?
It's cool. They have a ton of weight racks, a few batting cages, a ton of places to throw. The plyo balls are endless, and then they have a mocap all the way in the back. And that's where all the magic happens, is when you do that motion capture and you're shirtless only in your sliders and your shoes, and you got these sensors on, and they're trying to find any deficiencies or efficiencies in your biomechanics. So it's a fun time there. For the couple weeks that I was there, it was really good. I was working with a bunch of Red Sox guys, Ryan Zefferjohn being one of them. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's a good guy to have on a podcast, I think. He's a character. He's a creature.
Send him over. He's a creature.
He's a creature.
Did the motion? Wait, sorry. You said mocap. I want to sound cool.
Yeah. Motion capture.
Did the mocap find anything like that you weren't aware of in your delivery?
Keep in mind, I did this probably end of December, early January of last year, where I wasn't totally ramped up, so the velo wasn't completely there. So there was a couple inefficiencies in terms of like where my arm is when I land at what we call foot strike. So just kind of cleaning that up, speeding up the arm, and going from there, kind of trusting it'll all be there. I did find out that I do throw more strikes when I'm throwing harder, which is interesting. Usually it's the opposite. So the higher intensity I'm at, the more I command the baseball. So that means the throw to first base is hard for me. You will see me run the ball over and underhand it more often than not.
It's the most fascinating thing when a ground ball goes
crazy.
Like 95% of guys, I'm like, oh God, what's going to happen?
Yeah, you should do that for me. If it's a double play ball to second,
God.
If it's a double play ball to second, I'm throwing a rocket to second base.
Throwing
so that's
seed.
Yeah.
So you feel better throwing it to second than to first on a ground ball?
Oh yeah. Unless I can fire it from like a bunt down the third base line, I'm running that ball over to first.
I'm just imagining like a gentle ground ball back to you, like with one out, nobody on, gentle ground ball back to Chris Murphy. Fuck.
Oh, I'm not pimping it and throwing it down the line. I'm just running it over. Nothing flashy. Underhand it to Cassis and call it a day.
You should do the Julian Tavares. Just fucking roll it over there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
the bowl.
I was at a game where he rolled like it was a double play ball. This was like 2005 or 6. I was at Fenway. There was a runner on first, ground ball back to Tavares, and he rolls it, and you heard the whole crowd go, "What? What are you doing?" Definitely didn't get the double play there. Please don't do that.
I won't do that. Yeah. I'll work on my soft throws in spring training. How about that?
There we go.
Yeah. Don't focus on pitching.
PFDs.
Focus on stealing ground balls, turning, throwing.
So pivoting off that, what was your walk-in song last year, and are you going to keep it this year, or are you changing it?
It was a Flux Pavilion remix done by Nero. There's some heavy EDM. Must Be the Feeling. I think that was the name of it. Pretty hard song. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it again. That's up in the air. That's open to suggestions.
Yeah. Accidentally in Love.
Oh, I'm just thinking. Go ahead, Pat. I'm thinking.
Accidentally in Love. Just throwing it out there. Yeah, we'll workshop it. We'll get back to it.
So you're the type of, you need something a little bit faster, get you like up and going rather, because I know some guys like to have like a really calm, like settle you down type song. Like you want to get like riled and jacked up.
I need to flip the switch. I think that's something that I do. I'm not the guy you're talking to right now. I wouldn't say is ever out there on the mound. I've gotten into my fair share of scuffles with hitters in terms of not necessarily throwing at them, but making it seem like I intentionally threw at them when it was a total spray and on accident. I've been told to calm down a couple times on the mound. It's a different animal. I think you talk to any pitcher, they probably have two personalities, one off the field, one on the field. So, yeah, I got to flip the switch. Usually some heavier EDM will get that going, or Digits by Young Thug was mine in college and mostly throughout pro ball, but they didn't let me play it in Portland or Worcester. So
what? They didn't let you?
Why?
No, they just never played it. I'm assuming they didn't like the lyrics or whatever it may be. So
you should have heard some of the stuff that David Ortiz was playing back in the day, both in his walk-up songs and in BP. Like
yeah. Times have come out to Two Phones by Kevin Gates. I forget who that was.
That's a good one.
The funniest one, and like I don't want to slap any stereotypes on anyone, but Chris Martin with like gray hair coming out to that rap, that Texas song.
Big extra plug. Yeah.
He
did that more as a joke, I think, because it says "I'm from Texas" is the first line. They play like 10 seconds of his song, so.
It's actually that's a good gym song. Might be on my gym playlist. Can't confirm nor deny. But that's is there anyone else we'll just stick with the bullpen. Anyone else in the bullpen who's kind of like their outside of baseball personality is nothing like their on the mound personality?
Say Bernardino is one of them.
Friend of the program.
Yeah.
Hauk is definitely one of them. Hauk's one of the nicest people in the world, and then gets on the mound and a little scared of that guy on the mound. So
his hat goes on the mound.
What about Garrett? I feel like Garrett is so stoic out like off of the mound, but he also looks that way on the mound.
He's a very stoic person. He does have two personalities, I'd say. I've heard him say, I've heard him talk about what he was thinking about on the mound. He definitely has that switch flipped in terms of, if he doesn't want to get hit, don't stand there kind of thing. Like don't get too close. So he's got it. He's just he keeps his emotions to himself kind of thing. He doesn't want you to know, but he's genuinely one of the best dudes around the game. So couldn't be happier for that guy, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he looks like come spring. I saw him in a bullpen. During winter weekend, and pretty good. So
he's
be on the lookout for that.
Like based on how he looked I'm assuming he's throwing like 112 miles an hour now.
You look big.
I don't know how hard it was. But he was putting the ball where he wanted to, and it looked very firm. So
Good.
Hell yeah.
Good. More of that.
Circling back, you were saying you get into scuffles, you get kind of yelled at a little bit. You sound like our last guest, Jonathan Papelbon. Maybe him a little bit more so than you.
Don't count me there yet. Don't count me.
Maybe
I
he
gotta close out a few games to get there.
He might be a little more fiery than you. I don't know. Time will tell, but I don't like your odds. But
I don't like my odds either. That's a different cat.
Are you a superstitious guy?
No, not at all.
All right. So do you have like a set pregame routine, or you just kind of wake up, do whatever, and then go out there?
I make a coffee every morning. I got like a pour over set. That's about all I do. Anything else beyond that is I'm not necessarily a creature of habit. I have like my few things that I definitely make sure I get done in terms of preparation, but I'm kind of doing if my back's feels a little tight, I'm going to do some more back stuff. My hamstring's a little tight, I'm going to do some hamstring stuff, but there's no set pregame meal. There's nothing. I think maybe a shower before the game. I take like 4 showers a day, and I do it to like clear thoughts kind of thing. I'll take one in the morning. I'll take one when I get to the field if I really want to. And I'll take one before the game, take one after the game. And it's kind of just the one before the game clears whatever personality I had before the game. Get ready for the next thing, which is the game. And then after the game, just let it all go. Probably important to do after a bad game too, for sure, is to not ride the highs, not ride the lows. You don't want to be stuck to the ceiling or stuck to the ground. You just kind of want to even keel it.
Dude, that's I do the same thing with the shower. That makes me feel good that I'm not the only one who's like, gotta start my day, shower, midday, shower, end of the day, shower. It's like a good, start up, end of the day.
I don't know if anybody's ever felt bad getting out of the shower.
No, it's great. And it's not a waste of water, like people say, because you're using it. So
you're using it.
Yeah, you're not.
I would say it's a waste of water, but I still do it.
It helps. It helps your mental. I think it's good. I do have to ask. You said you make a coffee in the morning. Then you told us about how you pounded 3 Red Bulls. Do you mix those two? That's like a
no. I didn't have a coffee that day. During the season, there's a. If you've watched if you watch the bullpen, we do a Red Bull cheer before every game. So I'll grab a sugar-free, take a couple sips. Sometimes I finish it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's just a water. But yeah, if I think I'm going that day, I'm chugging a Red Bull at 7:10 when the game starts.
All right. Well, the bullpen was nasty last year, so let's keep that. Let's bring it down for 2024.
Yeah, I hope so.
Did you ever pick up any routines from anyone else on the team, or was there a guy on the team that like took you under their wing last year? Being a rookie.
Chris Martin and Nick Pivetta were definitely those two guys for me that were really about, hey, you come to me if you need anything, like what's going through your head when you sequenced a guy like this, or like when things were starting to spiral in a bad way, like what were you thinking about? Just so you kind of don't make that mistake again. And those two guys, I didn't take anything necessarily from their routine, but just watching about how they go about it, they're very monotonous. Chris Martin's not worried about how hard he's thrown in the bullpen. That's something I learned, is it doesn't matter how hard I'm throwing the bullpen. Get loose. Doesn't matter where I'm putting the ball. He's just getting loose and going out there, and he knows where the ball's going. And Pivetta is a freak in terms of what he can do with the baseball. I can't really compare myself to him. He's got some of the best shit in terms of his fastball carries, like 25, 27 inches. His curveball goes 20 inches the other way. He throws a sweeper, a cutter. The guy can do everything with the ball. And watching how his year I don't think I personally watched him pitch bad. I think that was all before I got there in terms of his numbers, but when I got there, it was you guys going 5-6 innings every time, and you're like, this guy's nails. And he was definitely the most fun player to watch. And I would kind of watch how he attacked guys and maybe do something similar. If he's getting guys out, fastball up, curveball down, I would kind of try to do something similar. Maybe somebody like Javi Baez was probably that guy. Like throw nothing in the zone, just all around it, and he'll swing. Yeah, those two guys, Big Rig and Pivetta.
Big Rig.
But you picked two good guys. I mean, they both last year especially after you got there, because that was basically when Pivetta's season completely flipped. Like I guess he developed that sweeper and just his life just changed.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. And
The Whirly Bird.
the Whirly Bird.
We gotta stick. We're gonna do this all season. We're calling it the Whirly Bird every time it's thrown.
Yeah, it was actually called that before the sweeper. I think I got taught it in 2022, beginning of 22, was introduced to me, or Rio told me about it 2 years ago as the Whirly Bird. It's like, what? But yeah, now it's the sweeper, sweeping slider.
Did he learn that from Martin too?
No, did Rio learn it? I think Rio learned it off of a video on Twitter a couple years ago. I think it was somebody from Tread talking about it. The seam shifted curveball, pretty much. You throw like a curveball and it just goes sideways. So it's an interesting pitch. It's definitely a physics pitch.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna transition you here. Are you ready for some rapid fires? Rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
Rapid fires.
Sure.
All right. First one for you. Weirdest item you've ever been asked to sign?
Ooh. I feel like how rapid is this? I think a sticker that had nothing to do with baseball. It might have been something from that Taylor Swift or the Barbie giveaway. I think that was one thing. It was a little girl, but I don't know if that's the weirdest thing. Circle back to me on that one. I'm thinking about it.
All right.
We'll have to get you to sign one of Rob's baseballs and boring stickers for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite video game now or as a kid?
You remember the Bigs? The Bigs was my favorite video.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It
Was it
makes sense. This is why they have to tell you to chill on the mound because.
Yeah, that game was so fun.
Am I thinking of the wrong game? Actually, what's the one where you can
No,
punch
you're thinking of that's Slugfest.
You get the power ups in the Bigs. Like they have the power up where you can
Bigs
hit
is
the ball
the shit.
800
Oh,
feet
okay.
and throw 110.
Yeah, Manny was a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gordo, you're right. I was thinking of Slugfest, where you could the guy gets to second and the shortstop just comes over and punches him, and then he's out.
It was a wild game.
Slugfest.
All right, next rapid fire question: dogs or cats?
Ooh. Love both, but I'm gonna go with cats. They're self-sustainable animals.
Nice.
That was an intelligent
That's
answer.
the Sammy answer. Sammy's a big cat guy. Where's Larry?
Larry's somewhere. I got a guy named Larry David. He's a cat.
I like that.
It's a big cat.
Seinfeld guy.
Big time.
More Curb. I like Curb more.
Curb's good too.
Yeah, Larry David.
All right. Seeds or gum?
Ooh, gum.
Ooh. All right. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
Oh, what are your guys' answers on this?
That's
Sammy
a yes.
Pat.
Dude, here's my thought process. This is my rationale every time I've been asked this question. If you take one piece of bread and you put peanut butter on it and you fold it in half, is that a peanut butter sandwich?
Yes.
It
should be the
is,
same with meat.
but
No.
it's a cylinder. It's a cylinder.
It's not a sandwich. It's a hot dog. It's its own thing. What do you got to
I
lump it
agree
in?
with Sammy. It's its own thing.
I think
disagree.
it's like not all rectangles are squares, but all squares are rectangles kind of thing.
There you go.
Okay, Pat, follow up to you here.
All right.
If I took a hot dog bun and I doused it with peanut butter, that's not a sandwich.
It's the same thing. What the hell are we talking about?
That's a sandwich.
No, it's got the same ingredients.
Why is there peanut butter on a hot dog? It's not the ingredients. It's
On the
it's
roll, Sammy, not the hot dog.
the structure.
Okay, I got
on
a
the
question.
roll.
If you instead of keeping the hot dog bun together, if you cut the hot dog bun and put a hot dog in between it, is that a sandwich?
No.
No.
Okay, but if you
okay.
put peanut butter on it, it's a sandwich.
Yeah.
If that bun
Okay.
is cut in
All right.
half.
So you guys are just idiots. This isn't actually.
Let me explain. A hot dog is its own category. When you have that tube of mystery meat and a bun or something that's serving as a bun, regardless of the shape, that is a hot dog. A sandwich is entirely different. We'll die on this hill. When you go, we're at Fenway. You ask the guy who's selling the hot dogs, "Hey, I'll take a sandwich." He's gonna look at you like you're crazy, right?
He is, yes. And Sammy, I'll add on to that. If you took 2 pieces of bread and put a hot dog in the middle of them, I don't even think that's a sandwich.
No, that's just crazy.
Yeah, this is lunacy.
I can't believe that sparked that conversation. Not only am I surprised, I'm thoroughly disappointed in you two. That was disgusting. That's foul behavior.
Okay, so I think my girlfriend has overheard us. She sent me an article about the cube rule of food identification. There's an entire web page. Oh my God. There's an entire website dedicated to this question. So if cube, it has to be a cube. Yeah, a taco is a taco. Is a taco a sandwich?
Yes.
Ah,
I think
What?
in theory.
No,
I
it's
think
not
in
bread.
theory.
That's not bread.
no.
True.
It's still
It's a chip.
Okay, what about sushi? Nah, sushi's not.
No, what the hell?
Sushi is sushi.
Yeah.
Okay, is a calzone a sandwich? Here we go. That's a good question.
Oh.
No, because that's like baked dough. We're talking about bread here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Different subset.
But let me ask you this: is steak and
like
cheese on a sub roll a sandwich?
Yes.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
This,
No,
what are we doing?
I'm in. That's a sandwich, yeah.
That's a
Because
sandwich.
you could say steak and cheese sandwich. People say that.
I'm appalled.
If Pat, I think if you like took the steak and cheese and like condensed it into the shape of a hot dog and it was like firmly in hot dog form, shape wise, I would say it's not a sandwich.
Okay, listen to this. Here's the cube rule of food. If it's on the bottom only, that's toast. If there's 2 pieces of bread, top and bottom, that's a sandwich. If you have the sides, bottom only, that's a taco. A box is sushi. Then you have like the soup, and then salad is the entire square. So there's no hot dog, therefore its own thing.
It's a hot taco.
If there's no hot dog, then it's a sandwich.
No, because it's not in the sandwich thing. It's
Sammy, I think you're helping their argument because if a hot dog's not listed in there, that means it
yeah.
has to fall into one of the categories.
hot dog is listed under the number 3, the taco section. So there
It's
are
a taco.
there are certain sandwiches that fall under this, but generally sandwiches are not in the same category as the hot dog. So I think we're all right in the end.
Okay.
Or maybe
Everyone
we're all
wins.
wrong.
Everybody wins.
All right.
Participation trophies all around. Nice job, guys.
Okay, anyway. And one more rapid fire question. What is your favorite thing about Boston?
Favorite thing about Boston?
Yeah, other than like Fenway.
Other than Fenway. I don't know. That walk to the field when I was staying at the Hotel Commonwealth right there, that walk to the field is just amazing. Just like you get to walk around, and after a game, walking back there is very cool. You walk around all those bars. There's a lot of people out. My favorite thing there is not getting recognized. I don't think anybody really gets recognized. And there's a couple of big leaguers that have good stories about that. I'm not going to put them on blast, but there's a couple of guys that have good stories about not getting recognized and playing a joke about being on the Red Sox kind of thing. No one believing them. So I think it's just it's a good environment, especially. Or I went to TD Garden once for a Bruins game, and just all the fans are the same. I think that's one thing that you get is like consistency of fans. Like they are diehard every Boston sport. I grew up kind of a Jets fan. I was a Jets fan for approximately 4 snaps this year. Jets fans and Yankee fans are not the same.
Really?
Boston No, Jets fans expect to lose. Yankee fans want to win. Jets fans expect to lose every single year. It's sad. And then I've been in that boat, and I was excited for 4 snaps, and then Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. I think you have in Boston, the Bruins fans, the Patriots fans, the Celtics fans, and the Red Sox fans all want to win. They're all the same level of crazy. They have the same expectations every year. I think that's something special too. Kind of shows the camaraderie of the city per se.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So-
I kind of never, as a person who grew up in the Boston area, you kind of just assume that in every other city that all of their sports teams, regardless of the sport, are the same people, because that's totally how it is in Boston. Like, you get the same people at all 4 games. So we are crazy, though. I'm glad you pointed that out.
What was your reaction to the Jets trading for Rodgers? Like, did you expect something to go wrong?
I wasn't optimistic. It was like, oh, he's at the end of his career. It's like a Brett Favre situation when we had him too. I will say though, I'm more of a Niner fan now. I was living in the Bay Area last offseason and a little bit this offseason. So kind of grown into Niner fan territory, which is not, I don't know, one likes them, but Christian McCaffrey on the fantasy team, I had to kind of root for him a little bit more. So I've moved on. Next year, I will give the Jets another chance, maybe for like 3 or 4 weeks. We'll see.
Not a Patriots guy?
I got a Mac Jones jersey. Does that count?
Oh God, no.
Oh, no.
I have one too.
We had Brendan Pino on, and we were talking about like if we like Mac Jones or not, and that feels like it was years ago.
Oh my God.
Remember that?
Dude. Yeah, that feels like forever ago. That was this season.
Yeah, and Brennan was like, I like him. He's pretty good. And I was kind of like, yeah, okay, he's not bad. Now I'm like, all right, buddy, time to go.
It was early, though. It was early in his defense.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how that draft goes. It's going to be interesting.
Oh,
Give us a quarterback. Please give us a quarterback.
I mean, you're getting a quarterback. It's just, are you going to get Mac Jones 2.0 and Drake May? So
All right. We've had enough of you, Chris. Thank you for your time.
They're gonna draft a lineman, and I'm just gonna have a meltdown.
If you get Jaden Daniels, I'll be a honorary Patriots fan. I like him a lot.
all right.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
So you said you're a Niners fan, so I know what the answer to this question is going to be, so I guess I'll ask for a score too. This will be our final question. Give us your Super Bowl prediction. Give a score.
Shootout, 34-31.
Ooh.
Oh.
Who?
Niners all the way.
I thought so.
Yeah. I can't. I don't know. It's the crybaby-ness. I don't know. You didn't hear it from me. I tweeted about it. You can check my most recent tweet. Time for him to go 4-1, 3-1, and 3-1 because they're talking about how he's undefeated in all these games. Time to lose.
I'm trying to see. I can't tell if I want Mahomes to win because it makes Brady look better for having beaten him 2 times, or if I want Mahomes to win because it's catch Brady.
I did say that earlier to somebody. I was like, every time Mahomes wins one of these playoff games, he makes Brady look better. But I don't want him to win another Super Bowl. He's had enough.
This is going to sound very bad. I don't mean it in a bad way. I am dreaming of the Niners winning the Super Bowl. You get Travis Kelce sitting on the bench, head in hands, and it pans up, and we just have Taylor Swift sobbing her face off.
Well, the one thing you're missing there is they're not going to show Travis Kelce. They're just going to go straight and pan straight to Taylor Swift.
Yeah, they might actually just have a continuous Taylor shot with the box score at the bottom.
He scored on Sunday, and they did not even show the celebration. They went straight to Taylor Swift. I was like, what is going on?
It's unreal. It's
what if the Niners win? They pan up to Taylor Swift. She's standing in the box like an emperor, looking down on the players, and she takes off the jersey, shakes her head, and walks out. And then an hour later, we're like, the relationship's over. It was contingent on the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl.
Contingent on a ring.
Did you just ask me what would happen if Taylor Swift shook it off?
Yeah, that's where my head went too, Pat. That's where my head went too.
Melt in your chair, Sammy. All
Like
right.
it.
See you, Sammy.
Ugh,
I'm throwing a bet on that 33-1 prediction.
34-31. Yeah.
I had a buddy predict the exact score. He turned like $2 into like 160 off of predicting the exact score of the Lions game. So I'll take your bet.
Do it.
But on that, Chris Murphy, big thanks for jumping on and making your Play Tessie debut. Always welcome on the program. Best
We
of luck
will
this
have you back
season.
on.
Yeah, we'll have you back on, and best of luck, and we're excited to
Sweet.
see you out there this spring.
Thanks, guys. Excited to be back on next time. But yeah,
All right.
shoot me any questions if you have them. We'll get back on this.
Yeah.
Huge thanks to Chris Murphy for jumping on with us and making his Play Tessie debut. As I said in the intro, it was inevitable. It was happening. We knew it was going to happen. You knew it was going to happen. Chris Murphy, by all accounts, awesome dude. Like we hung out with him for a while at Winter Weekend, and he was awesome there. Hops on with us, like very generous with his time. Like by all accounts, he's just a great dude. I mean, I know I speak for all of us. We love Chris Murphy, and we're definitely excited to have him on again. What did Sammy, Pat, like thoughts on the interview, takeaways from the interview?
That's our guy, man.
Yeah, it's our guy, and a hot dog is not a sandwich.
All right, that's enough of that.
Yeah, Pat, now you're numbered, man. You're numbered now.
Yeah. No more Chris Murphy to protect you from your hot dog takes. I will say, we're all three of us, we're in a weird spot right now because we're riding high. We just had a great interview with Chris Murphy. But this morning, the Play Tessie group chat was the biggest bitch fest you've ever seen because of what Gordo mentioned at the beginning of the episode, Justin Turner heading to Toronto. So I don't know how to feel right now. I'm sad that JT's gone. I'm happy that Chris Murphy finally got on the show and we had a great interview and we all unanimously agreed that a hot dog is not a sandwich. But I don't know, guys. No more JT. That was a hell of a season he had. I would say maybe not the best hitter the Red Sox had, but certainly the most consistent. And now he leaves. Not his fault. Make that clear. He's gone to the Blue Jays for 1 year, 13, which is incredibly affordable.
So doable. So doable.
Yeah,
It's
I'll one up you, Sammy. I would go as far to say he was their best hitter last year.
Well,
He was. I mean, Devers had a down year, which is still a great year by all standards. But I mean, he was an absolute dog for them. He played every game that he could, was an on-base machine. He hit for, loved the monster, hit for power, knocked in runs, was an on-base machine, played a little bit of first. I think he played a couple innings at second, a little bit too.
third. He was fine at second.
Yeah, like he was everything that they needed last year and still need now. And the fact that you let him go into a division rival for pennies on the dollar is batshit crazy.
yeah. There's Gordo. You had the best tweet about it today. I don't know if you have that tweet in front of you. If not,
I've got a tweet up actually. It might be the tweet you're referencing. I don't know. I anticipated because John Morosi had reported that Justin Turner's market was heating up. He was probably going to sign soon. He didn't list the Red Sox. So I saw the writing on the wall and I threw my social media Hail Mary more so just to like get tweets out there so that I can reference them when he signs elsewhere. So I said the other day, Justin Turner, if you're trying to compete, he's a really good right-handed bat. He can be your three hitter. Like out of all these bats that they're considering, some of them can hit third and some of them are more suited for the bottom of the lineup or like the 6 or 7 spot. Like when we talk Adam Duvall, that's the role we want him in. But Justin Turner can be your three hitter. He can DH, he can play first, he can play third, and as Pat referenced, he can play second. Like he's not going to do it all the time, but he can play those positions. He can be versatile. He can get guys off their feet. And most importantly, he's the leader of your team. But as we've all come to realize over the last month or so, it doesn't necessarily look like the Red Sox are putting their best foot forward, or as we said before, any foot forward, not even a 3-toed foot.
yeah.
So if you only care about the future and you're not competing in 2024 and you're basically taking this as a punt year, which obviously none of us want, but if you are, Justin Turner still fits because it's an affordable 1-year deal. He can be a leader and an example for the next wave of guys that, by all accounts, they see this is a kind of their all-in Hail Mary for their future is on these next wave of prospects. And third, you've got a bunch of fans out there. They may not be super happy with your offseason, but people would really like it. People would have loved to have Justin Turner back.
Yeah, and you have lost
the team worth watching.
Goodwill. You've lost every ounce of goodwill if you're the Red Sox ownership. You won 4 World Series in Boston, the most crazed sports town in the country, and you've managed to lose all goodwill. And you would have gotten a good amount of it back if you just signed this 39-year-old DH to a 1-year deal because everyone loves him. He fits a need. We don't have to go over it again. You covered everything, Gordo. It just makes no fucking sense. As Pat said last week, what the fuck are we doing here? Nothing makes sense. Nothing.
Sammy.
And, oh my God. And I still think they're going to sign Jordan Montgomery.
No. But the craziest part about it, though, because Bradford reported after Paxton signed that being on the West Coast close to his home was important to him. We know that with a lot of free agents, there's other factors besides money. Like Zach Eflin last year was deciding between the Sox and the Rays and eventually picked the Rays mostly because it was closer to his home. So geographical factors are a thing here. But with Justin Turner, this is a guy who extended his lease after the season to stay in Boston for a little bit longer because he loved his time here so much. He wanted to be here. Every time he got the chance last year, every time he was asked during the season, after the season, I want to say it was at a Pedro Martinez gala that the media got a hold of him and asked him. He wanted to be here. And by all accounts, to our knowledge, there was practically no effort made on the part of the Red Sox to keep him here, which it makes you ask yourself, do they know what they're doing? Do they understand what's important in building a team?
It's inexplicable, especially when Teoscar signs, Hoskins signs, all these guys are signing, and it's the Red Sox aren't going to go above a 2-year deal. Cool. It sucks, but whatever. In what world can you look at what Justin Turner did last year, look at your current roster, and what the guys still available are going to get, and say, you know what, we're all right, we're good, we'll pass? I don't, and Gordo, you're right. It does beg the question. Do they actually know what this team looks like right now? Do they think that this team is on paper set and that they can win baseball games?
Let me ask the same question I asked a few weeks ago. The 26-man roster, how many can John Henry name?
12.
12 is generous? I was going to say 6.
But it's, Pat, to your point from before, though, every time, you said the thing about 2-year deals and them not wanting to go over that. And every time they're asked about something like that, they've said, we don't want to sacrifice future wins for wins today. We think our window's in the future. And you may not agree with that mindset, but you at least have to respect it because it's an opinion to have. With Justin Turner, him would not have sacrificed future wins. It wouldn't have pushed you anywhere close to the luxury tax. It was affordable. You would have to think they're going to pay that amount of money to somebody or some combination of players at some point. And right now, Breslow was asked by Pap on the Cinco Ocho, what's the most important? How do you get this team back into contention? He says, improve the pitching. And we all agree, pitching is their most glaring need, but you can't forget about the offense. And as of today, significant players going out, Justin Turner, Alex Verdugo, and Adam Duvall, as of now, Adam Duvall, and coming in, Tyler O'Neill and Vaughn Grissom. This is an offense that ranked 9th last year in OPS, and that's playing in Fenway Park. So they aren't actually the 9th best offense. That's just their results, and they've gotten worse. So an offense that was average is only getting worse and losing its leader of the clubhouse, emotional leader of the team. You can't even begin to explain how huge that loss is.
Yeah, and it just further strengthens the point. That was tough for me to say. Further strengthens the point that we have no clue what the plan is. For the last 3 years, I felt pretty confident that I understood what they were doing. Like we've discussed a million times, build up the farm, develop your guys internally. And then when you have that core set, you supplement a little, which they did in 2023 with, Yoshida, Jansen, etc. And then it feels like they're just giving up on the plan now. They're like, nah, we don't want to do it. Justin Turner, 1 year, 13 million. I don't know about that. That's good. There's just nothing. There's nothing to justify it. And to make it more annoying, Jorge Soler, who we've talked about ad nauseum on this show, he's still out there. He could probably be had for 2 years, 3 years at like 18 million, maybe.
Yeah, probably 15, 18-ish.
15 even. I mean, he initially was projected for 3 years, 45, which would be 15 million. So if you shorten it to 2, maybe the price goes up a little, the years come down, whatever. Regardless, super affordable power bat, right-handed, check all the boxes. And I have zero confidence that they're even going to make an effort to sign that guy, let alone anyone in that category. So as a fan, I feel lost. I feel frustrated. My enthusiasm has been absolutely torched. And yeah, I don't know what to tell people.
Going off that, Sammy, though, you made a good point in the sense that they're just like, yep, once we're set, like we'll invest. And they're like, never mind. They are literally moving the goalposts. We were told when the young core was up and established, and that core at the time was Jarren Duran, Tristan Casas, Brian Bayo. Once these guys are up and established, that's when we strike. That's when we spend our money. Now that those guys are up and prove that they're major leaguers and playing well, they have now flipped to, okay, but once Meyer, Anthony, Rafaela, and Teal are up, that's when we'll strike. Like, how long is it just the stringing along? Like, we're told this is when that time comes and they say, I'm okay. And they move it again. Like, it's getting to the point where fans should be very pissed off. And everybody is.
Yeah. And, off of both of your points, Jen McCaffrey, The Athletic, put out a poll. It's going to end up turning into an article, but she's giving fans the opportunity to answer questions about one of the questions in there is, how confident are you in the direction of the team, or do you feel that they have a solid direction or something of that order? And Sammy, like you said, under Chaim Bloom, this isn't meant to be a knock on Breslow. It's more so just a timing thing. But under Chaim Bloom, I fully understood the vision. You needed to wait for guys to come up to strike, because if they had invested in, let's say, Nick Castellanos after 2021, he would have put up good seasons. But now that your core is ready to compete, now Nick Castellanos is on the decline. So it's you can't invest in guys at that point. But at this point, your core is ready to compete. There's no reason to not spend. These guys are ready to win now if you just supplement it with the pieces, and they're not doing it. Which I took her poll, and I forget if it was a yes or no or a scale of 1 to 5, but I definitely said some answer along the lines of, I'm not confident in this team's direction right now. I do believe they've got a really good farm system, and I believe that Craig Breslow, outside of disagreeing with his opinion on the DH position, I feel like he has a very good understanding of what to do and how to make a good value move. And I think he will be aggressive, not necessarily in spending, but in move making. So I feel good about that, and I feel good about the farm. How can you feel good about the team's direction if ownership isn't showing any inclinations to spend? You can't. There's a ceiling cap on it.
You know what really scares me? Really, really scares me, really keeps me up at night? Yoan Moncada. He was the most can't-miss prospect in baseball on the Red Sox. And if you're not familiar, this kid the Red Sox signed out of Cuba, I think he was, Pat, you're going to know the answer to this. What was he? When he was traded for Chris Sale to the White Sox,
Number
he was
one.
Number one in baseball?
Number one. It was
Number
him,
one.
Michael Kopech, and Angel
Basabe.
Basabe.
So, okay. So the reason why this guy keeps me up at night is because he sucks now. So if you get one Yoan Moncada out of Anthony, Meyer, and Teal, you are in a boatload of a mess, because right now they're not spending. They haven't made any of those aforementioned uncomfortable trades that, like, I mean, unless you want to count Verdugo to the Yankees, I don't count that as much, but you're not signing big name players. You're not making those uncomfortable trades. It's all on these kids some of who can't even legally buy a drink right now. And like, it's just crazy to me. You have the formula. You've won 4 World Series where you have a core. You call up the young guys, add the young guys to the core, and then you supplement from every direction. And they're just like, no, we're not going to do this proven 4 times formula. Like, it's just so, it's frustrating as hell. It seems like there's such a path to contending this year and beyond. And I feel neglected as a fan. That's how I feel.
Sammy, you bring up a good point, because yes, they're not. Like, look at some of these World Series teams like the Rangers, and you look at the middle of their lineup, and go look at the Dodgers. Look at all these great teams in the middle of their lineup. They've got like 3, 4, 5 stars or fringe stars. The Red Sox in their lineup right now have 2. They've got Casas and Devers. Basically, if you're not going to spend, you need like multiple of these prospects down on the farm, these big 3 guys, to turn into legitimate studs. If you're willing to spend to supplement with at least 1, like your margin of error just increases so much. Like, just having the ability to spend means you don't have to hit on every single prospect every single time you think you have one. But I mean, I don't know. Like, how can you believe they're going to spend? If they're not willing to spend $13 million, let's be real here. Justin Turner probably would have taken $1 or $2 million less than he took in Toronto to stay in Boston, because he loved it here so much. And they're not even willing to talk to him.
He told you he loves Boston. I mean, have you ever seen a guy come to the Red Sox and get integrated into the community so quickly like Justin Turner did? And I know that, like, you have to be producing as well, but he did. He did both. Yeah, he was clutch. I don't agree with Pat saying he was the best hitter on the team, but I'm not going to argue anyone who thinks that. There's a total, fair way to look at it and say that. So I don't know. It's just so it's stupid. Everyone is dumb, and I'm mad.
The one thing that like stands out to me is they keep kind of repeating themselves, saying we're not going to give away future wins to win now. Like, that's been the recurring theme. We're not going to trade away future wins. Not doing anything this year costs you future wins. Because a year from now, we're in the same predicament. Giolito is gone. O'Neill is gone. Chris Martin is gone. If Kenley's here, Kenley is gone. Pavetta is gone. You have laid 0 groundwork for this roster moving forward outside of absolutely banking on these 3 guys. So in a world where you sign Montgomery this year and you sign, let's say, Soler this year, you have a functional number 1 for this year. Well, I guess.
Good enough.
In a
Good
DH.
enough, yeah.
Good enough. In a DH. Next year, when we're in this predicament, those guys are here and you worry about, okay, we need an ace, maybe a 5-starter, back of the bullpen. You have pieces there. And I hate to say this, I don't think there's any amount of moves that they can make next year based on where the roster currently is that even makes them a contender next year. You're looking at a contender in 26.
Oh.
No, you're right, Pat. The important 2024, like, it was going to be a year where if you made the right moves to fill out the roster, you contend. But then 2025 would be a yes, we are contending year. Now, I'm not even going to say if they sign Montgomery and Soler, because like if they did that, you'd have a complete roster. And I'd argue that even though like you don't necessarily have an ace, you could compete for a playoff spot, and like we'll see from there. But I don't think that stuff is happening, which means that like now like 25 is going to be that year. Like, you're going to have these kids coming up, and like obviously we see rookies struggle all the time. Like, it's just the name of the game. Like, maybe they spend a little bit to supplement it, but like if you're riding the highs and lows of rookies, like you're gonna have to have a lot of stuff go right to be a legitimate contender in 2025. Like, are we seriously potentially waiting until 2026 to be real contenders? And then by that point, like Casas and Bayo are halfway to free agency. Like, you've now got a 3-year window.
Yeah, I'm almost going to be 40 by the time these fuckers are good. Like, yeah, I have no. You got to laugh it up. Laugh it up. I'm the old.
You're
guy.
50, dude. You're 50 by the time the Sox are good again in
Yeah,
2 years.
You know what's so sad is we went from like, what's your percentage chance they sign Ohtani to like, that was never realistic. What about Yamamoto? And now we've fallen so far that we're just like, please put a complete team on the field for God's sakes. We're talking about, are they going to have a full rotation?
Yeah,
we went have a rotation.
We went from what's your percent chance in Ohtani over? I think we're a real underdog. I think we have a decent chance to now being like,
team.
I hope they were in Noah Syndergaard's bullpen today. Like it's a mess, dude. It sucks.
You said that if they signed Michael Lorenzen, this was like months ago, that you would like jump off a bridge or something.
I think I said I'd play in traffic. Yeah,
play in traffic. What would you do now if they signed Michael Lorenzen?
I would dance in the streets.
We're having parties, man. We're having She's dancing in the street.
The Red Sox would be so yoked with Duran, O'Neill, and Lorenzen, but yeah, he's probably out of the Red Sox price rate. What did friend of the show, Jared Carabas, said? I realize Justin Turner's not a fit because he costs money. He's in search of the elusive $0, 0 cent, 0 years player, but
maybe one day.
Okay. Anyway, you guys want to do enough said now?
Yeah.
Let's roll with some enough said.
Mine's
you go, Pat. You go first.
Mine's pretty brief. So first and foremost, I want to preface this. I thoroughly enjoy Kylie McDaniel from ESPN. I enjoy reading his articles. He's a very smart baseball mind, especially when it comes to like college prospects, mock drafts, scouting, and things like that. The one thing that I do not like about Kylie McDaniel is his unknown as to why grudge against the Red Sox and their farm system. His prospect rankings come out tomorrow. I'm going on podcast record right now. Ceddanne Rafaela will not be ranked. I think Kyle Teal is about 78. I think Roman Anthony is about 34. And I think Marcelo Mayer is 26.
I think being generous. He's gonna have like Kyle Teal in the 90s. Meyer, no, he'll have Anthony as the best Red Sox prospect at 34, and he's gonna kick Meyer all the way down to like 52. Yeah. Kyle Teal's gonna be like hanging on the list in the 90s. Ceddanne Rafaela is not even gonna get mentioned. He's gonna mention like, oh, just missed the list. Rafaela's not gonna be in there. He's just not even.
Here's my bold prediction. In his honorable mention, if there is a Red Sox, it will be Miguel Blaze, not Ceddanne Rafaela.
Oh, yeah. Like one of those prospect guys who's like, I see the real value in these guys. Let me tell you. Hey, I actually don't think that's crazy, though. Actually, no, you can't put Miguel Blaze in that category after missing the entire.
Yeah.
Season.
He would have been top 100 if he was healthy this year.
He's got the ceiling, but it's like you can't put him. Yeah. You can't put him anywhere near those lists right now. But he could go there. But anyway, I'll go next. This is a tweet from @Blake H. Harris. I want to say that he's a Dodgers writer.
Blake
Boy tweeted about bobblehead dates for the Dodgers in 2024. This is the Dodgers, the team that signed Shohei Ohtani, signed Yoshinobu Yamamoto, traded for Tyler Glasnow, signed Teoscar Hernandez, signed James Paxton, already has Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Will Smith, and like we could just keep going on and on. They're stacked beyond belief. These are the bobblehead dates for 2024. March 30th, Freddie Freeman. 4/13, Brusdar Graterol. 4/20, Walker Buehler. 5/16, Shohei Ohtani. 5/18, Will Smith. 5/21, Mookie Betts. 6/1, Tyler Glasnow. 7/3, Bobby Miller. 7/6, Jason Hayward. 8/7, Sandy Koufax. 8/9, Dusty Baker. 8/11, Matt Kemp. 8/28, Shohei Ohtani. He couldn't even fit it all into the tweet. July 24, August 20, September 11, September 25 also have mystery bobblehead days. They are giving away 17 bobbleheads next season to a team or to a fan base that should have no problem filling the ballpark. Meanwhile, I don't know how many the Red Sox have, but I want to say it's like 4, if that. And yeah, my enough said is if you're not going to put a really good team on the field, at least give me like 10 awesome bobbleheads to add to my collection. Please.
I got a
big bobblehead guy.
I think every single current player, I think every single player that they're giving out a bobblehead of, if you put them on the Red Sox, they're a top 3 player on the team right now, which is crazy because you said Bruised Dog Gratterall, but I think that's accurate.
What about Matt Kemp?
Also, current day Matt Kemp, he might
current Matt Kemp.
There's your DH.
He dated. He gets the Rihanna bump because he dated her, so he wins.
The other thing, did you say there's mystery bobbleheads?
Yeah, he says I couldn't even fit everything because there's so many bobblehead giveaways, LOL. But there are also 4 bobblehead nights where they haven't even announced the players yet.
Yeah, I'll be very curious to see who they give out on 9/11.
Hey, man, you're the 9/11 bobblehead. Hey, well, the Red Sox are doing a fucking mystery roster, so that's exciting. That's more exciting than a mystery bobblehead. We got no clue who's going to be on the team. Anyway, we kind of. Oh, mind if I go? Wrap this up?
Yeah. You go last.
All right, let me make everyone even angrier. Here's what's on deck for the Fenway Sports Group shitstorm. They are nearing a $3 billion investment in the PGA Tour, and that's it. That's my enough said.
I thought it was there. So I don't think they're the entire $3 billion. I think there's a bunch.
A chunk of it.
Yeah, they're the biggest part of it, I think. But yeah, I think like Wick Grosbeck is in there too. But yeah, whatever. Your point stands.
The fact that Fenway is, I mean, I don't have to explain it. Anyone who's listening knows the deal. Like that. And I've kind of come around to this. I didn't think this was a thing earlier on. I figured like you have a portfolio. It doesn't matter what you're focused on at the time. But it just seems like the Red Sox are an afterthought for Fenway Sports Group, which is sad because they're literally the Fenway Sports Group. But just giving people a warning. When this happens, you're going to hear about it a lot. And I would not blame you if you're pissed off. I don't understand if it affects the Red Sox or not. I'm not going to pretend I'm smart enough to know how that works. But I don't like the looks of it. And we'll leave it at that.
I think it impacts the Red Sox. I think all these things do. But yeah. You guys got anything left or you all good?
No, I have nothing left. I'm just a vessel with a brain that's barely working anymore because the Red Sox have ruined me, and we are not even in spring training yet. So, woohoo! Baseball.
So you on the lookout on Twitter. Me and Chris Murphy will be releasing our World Tour karaoke bar schedule.
Oh yeah, Chinese restaurants around the New England area. Watch out.
I still gotta figure out what song I'm thinking of, but you should be like the "Don't Go Breaking My Heart." That should be
the name of the song, Gordo.
What song? What's the name?
That is the name.
Don't Go Breaking My Heart. It's Elton John.
Oh, is that why I thought of that? Did you just say that? Oh, okay. No, my mind's fried, man.
Do milkshake. My milkshakes bring all the boys together. That'd be.
Oh yeah.
What a full circle moment. Gordo goes, I don't know the name of that song, and then sings the title of the song.
I love hearing about Gordo's not knowing pop culture. There's something refreshing. You're unplugged. That's nice. That's good.
I'm overly plugged in with Red Sox and Boston sports in general, and I'm overly unplugged with other things that also matter in the world.
I said Gordo's unplugged, and then I was like, wait a minute, no, he's an aggregator for sports. Never mind, he's just plugged into this thing.
Very specific subset of something. That's me.
Yeah. Well, you can see how it's affecting us in a positive way right now. We're all super happy and giddy to be talking about the Red Sox. Yay.
Yeah.
Tune in on Messin, the rivalry. Juan Soto versus Pablo Reyes. All right. I'm going to go to bed.
Same.
And on that note, huge thanks to Chris Murphy for jumping on the show. As always, hit that subscribe button. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Odyssey app. WEI on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure to follow us. Like we appreciate every single time you guys hit that follow button. You get a notification every single time. Every single time an episode comes out. We always appreciate it. And on that note,
Chris Murphy.